Bristol Motor Speedway delivered one of the most uncomfortable weekends of the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season, and not just because of what played out on the racetrack. The tension was visible, the frustration was audible, and for anyone who follows this sport closely, the situation surrounding Kyle Busch and Richard Childress Racing felt like something that had been quietly building for weeks, finally reaching its breaking point all at once. Kyle Busch, piloting the number 8 Richard Childress Racing Chevrolet, was fighting a losing battle from the very beginning of the Food City 500. The car lacked rear grip throughout the entire race, making it nearly impossible for him to rotate through the corners or carry any meaningful speed into them. He started from 29th position and never found a way to climb through the field because the machine simply was not responding the way it needed to. Then came lap 313, when Riley Herbst in the number 35 car made contact and spun Busch out while he was already buried deep in the back of the pack. The damage to his race was already done at that point, but things did not end there. On lap 498, near the conclusion of the race, Busch made heavy contact with Herbst and spun him out, bringing out the 9th caution of the afternoon. It looked exactly like what most people suspected it was, payback, and it generated immediate backlash from fans who felt the move only made a bad situation worse for a driver who could not afford any more negative attention this season. What happened over the team radio during that race told an even more revealing story than anything that occurred on the track. Crew chief Jim Pullman was audibly struggling to diagnose what was wrong with the car, asking whether it was tight, loose, plowing, or simply unpredictable, trying to find any explanation for why the setup was failing so completely. Spotter Derek Nealand responded by reminding him that he wears a headset, not a helmet, and genuinely did not have the answers being asked of him. After the spin, Nealand tried to settle things down, telling the team that yelling at each other was not going to solve anything, and urging everyone to stay composed because the race was still running. Pullman's response to that attempt at calm was the moment that stood out most. He simply said it was the same thing every single week. That is not the language of a team dealing with a temporary setback. That is the language of people who have been grinding through the same problems repeatedly without resolution. And it paints a picture of a group that is exhausted and searching for answers that are not coming easily. The statistics surrounding Kyle Busch's 2025 season are difficult to look at given what this driver has accomplished throughout his career. He finished the Bristol race in 25th place, 2 laps down, and that result extended a streak of 4 consecutive finishes outside the top 20 that also includes Las Vegas, Darlington, and Martinsville. Through 8 races this season, he has not recorded a single top 10 finish, with his best result being a 12th place showing at Circuit of the Americas. He currently sits 24th in the championship standings with 131 points, putting him 46 points below the playoff cut line with the postseason approaching. His overall winless streak has now stretched to 101 races, dating back to 2023, which is an extraordinary drought for a 2-time Cup Series champion. To put the Bristol situation into even sharper context, this is a driver who has won 8 times at that specific track in Cup Series competition and 22 times across all 3 of NASCAR's National Series at Bristol. The gap between who Kyle Busch has been at that track historically and who he was during the Food City 500 is almost impossible to reconcile. The performance struggles and internal team friction would be concerning enough on their own, but the situation becomes significantly more complicated when you factor in that Kyle Busch's contract with Richard Childress Racing expires at the end of the 2026 season. That means every race from here forward carries extra weight, because the results are not just determining playoff positioning. They are influencing how the organization views the long-term future of this partnership. After the race, Busch kept his public comments measured and professional, saying the team fought the car all day, lost track position early, and never recovered, and that they would focus on trying to improve things at Kansas. But composed post-race interviews do not erase what the radio exchanges revealed, and they do not change the scoreboard. What makes this moment feel genuinely significant rather than just another rough stretch is the combination of factors all pressing down at the same time. The lack of results, the communication breakdown within the team, the on-track incident that drew fan criticism, the contract timeline, and a winless drought that has now crossed the 100 race mark for a driver whose entire identity is built around winning. Whether RCR and Busch can diagnose the car problems, restore the internal chemistry, and start producing competitive finishes before the season reaches a point of no return is the central question hanging over one of NASCAR's most compelling storylines right now. The next several races will go a long way toward answering it.